Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be focusing on the June 2013 paper. I will be looking at the comprehension passage, the ocean. Stay tuned. Items 21 to 28. Instructions. Read the following extract carefully and then answer items 21 to 28 on the basis of what is stated or implied. The oceans. To the prejudiced eyes of land-bound humans, the oceans seem like one continuous mass as homogeneous as outer space. To some extent they are, and some marine creatures treat the whole maritime world as their oyster. Some of the great whales, for instance, lunge from the surface to the depths as matter of course, and divide their feeding and breeding between the poles and the tropics. Equally striking to the marine scientists, however, is the variousness of the oceans. Each sea embraces several, or indeed many distinct environments, each of which occupies a discrete zone. Some of these zones also vary markedly with time, through the day, with the tides, and therefore with the phases of the moon, by season, and sometimes in cycles of several years. And superimposed on all these variations in space and time are the more erratic influences of currents and the influx of rivers. In short, patchiness in space and time is as much a feature of the oceans as it is of land. Indeed, patchiness is a great principle in ecology, though it is rarely singled out as such. Each oceanic zone has its characteristic creatures, some a huge variety of different types, and sometimes only a few, but many creatures of all kinds spend one part of their lives in one kind of environment and part in another. And because there are so many different ways of making a living in the oceans, so many permutations of habitats, there is a correspondingly huge variety of creatures, and many creatures take quite different forms and live in quite different ways at different stages of their lives. There are far fewer species in the oceans than on land. However, because there are no marine equivalents of the forest trees, and it is the trees that provide such a myriad of habitats for land-based creatures. Now let's quickly try to go through the questions. I won't spend a long time on the items. I'm trying to get a few videos in today. Question 21. The writer's main purpose in this passage is to A. Show that the ocean is very diverse. B. Convince the reader to visit the ocean. C. Describe the beauty of the ocean to humans. D. Discuss the different creatures that live in the ocean. The writer's main purpose in the extract is to show that the ocean is very diverse. The passage states that the variousness of the ocean is striking to marine scientists. Variousness means diverse. So the answer is A. Question 22. The word prejudiced, line 1, is nearest in meaning to A. Racial, B. Biased, C. Negative, or D. Unpleasant. The word prejudiced means that there is an opinion formed without just grounds or before sufficient knowledge. Prejudice is a synonym for biased. So the answer is B. Biased. Question 23. The writer says that prejudiced eyes see the oceans as being as homogeneous as outer space, lines 1 to 2. This description suggests that the oceans seem to be A. Very far away, B. Full of shiny objects, C. Full of different zones, D. The same continuous stretch of water. The writer is comparing outer space to the oceans. The word homogeneous means alike or similar. Space is far and wide, just like the ocean. The writer is suggesting that the oceans seem to be one continuous stretch of water. Therefore, the answer is D. Question 24. The statement, some marine creatures treat the whole maritime world as their oyster, lines 2 to 3, suggests that they A. Live in oysters, B. Feed on oysters, C. Stay in one part of the ocean, or D. Move freely throughout the oceans. The world is your oyster is a very popular phrase, and it means you are in the position to take opportunities that life has to offer. So when the writer says some marine creatures treat the whole maritime world as their oyster, he's suggesting that the creatures move freely throughout the ocean. It means that the ocean world belongs to them and they can go anywhere they want to go and do absolutely anything that they want to do. So the answer for this item is D. Question 25. According to the passage, patchiness, line 13, refers to A. Variation, B. Confusion, C. Movement, or D. Piecing together. According to the extract, patchiness refers to variation. The word patchiness means characterized by irregular shapes or patterns. This means varying. So when the writer says patchiness, he means that the ocean is not just one form. So just as how we have mountains and hills and valleys and caves and all of that stuff on land, it's the same thing with under the sea. They have hills and valleys and all of that stuff just as the land. So that is what the writer means by patchiness. There is variation. Question 26. Which of the following best describes the type of writing in this passage? Is it A. Critical, B. Narrative, C. Informative, or D. Argumentative? This passage gives us information about the oceans, so it is an informative type of writing. Question 27. According to the passage, which of the following statements is false? Is it A. There are more species in the ocean than on land, B. There are more species on land than in the ocean, C. Many ocean creatures divide their time in different parts of the ocean, or D. Many sea creatures take different forms at different stages of their lives? The statement which is false is A. There are more species in the ocean than on land. Line 19 says the opposite of this. There are fewer species in the oceans than on land. Question 28. The clause, there are so many different ways of making a living in the oceans, lines 16 to 17, refers to A. Tourist, B. Fishermen, C. Scientist, D. Marine creatures. The answer is D. Marine creatures. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment down below, and subscribe.